way of life, focusing on coziness and contentment and cultivating joy in simple everyday moments. So that's one of the reasons we have our coffee and our tea and our baked goods today. It emphasizes warmth, togetherness, and creating a comfortable atmosphere to boost well-being during cold winter months. We sure needed that this winter, a little boosting of confidence and of togetherness, and that's what we have here. We have our knitting family together. We're enjoying some food together, and so you've got the Danish lifestyle down, I guess. Our Knitting Guild, Hannah Falkenberg Knit Along, started at the beginning of September, just as the days had a bit of chill in the air. We worked together at various homes on various Hannah Falkenberg projects, and it kind of took us away from our daily chores. Maybe some of you didn't get your cleaning done. I know I didn't. It had to be taken care of eventually, but you know. 9 participants, 14 different Hannah Falkenberg designs were chosen by members, with ballerina being the favorite, the most popular. So Hannah Falkenberg grew up in Aarhus, Denmark. Her parents told her that while she was young that she couldn't make a living with making flower pots and playing with fabric prints. She graduated from gymnasium meaning high school, with a math focus, and her parents assumed her path would lead to dental school. Where that came from, I have no idea. But she wanted to spread her wings and chose a hotel job in Scotland. There she met her future husband, a Norwegian engineering student. Hannah hurried back to Aarhus to take the shortest possible degree she could find. She became a lab technician, moved to Norway for work in the field, then returned to Scotland. She married her Norwegian, and together they settled in Fredrikstad, Norway. So this was the moment her creative spark truly ignited. She took on weaving from a local yarn shop, and her payment was yarn.
Awesome.
She turned that yarn into little striped sweaters for the couple's young son. They were so well made that she was able to sell the patterns. One day, she was approached by a renowned Norwegian yarn company inviting her to design sweaters and cardigans. She worked for that company for 17 years. This was in Norway. It suited her perfectly, as she could work from home while her son and daughter were at school. I must have created 800 different designs, says Hannah Falkenberg, who after 25 years of marriage, divorced and returned to Denmark. Before that, she also worked for Norwegian Dale Garn and a popular women's magazine in Norway. She was low-key when she launched her company in Denmark. She didn't spend much on advertising to get her name out. At her core, she's a very private person who prefers to keep a low profile. It was very difficult for me to get any biographical information on her. I did finally contact online, and a very nice lady there did send me a newspaper article about her. And so I was able to glean some of this information, but there's just very little out there. Even so, Hannah became a knitting icon. Words of her design spread like wildfire among knitting enthusiasts. Drawing from her many years in Norway, she was well prepared to strike out on her own. Eventually, her designs were in high demand, not only in Denmark, but across much of the globe. Americans had long been captivated by Falkenberg, while both Japanese and Australians were eager to get their hands on her creations. One of the ways we were introduced to Hannah Falkenberg was at Fiberworks don't know when that was, but it was
2004.
2004.
Oh my gosh.
And we had, she had a trunk show. And there were many of Hannah's designs that we could actually try on. And then we could order the yarn and the patterns. And then we could put them in the closet and let them sit there for a long time. Some of us did make a number of Hannah Falkenberg's designs at the time. But one of the reasons we were able to get so many people to participate in this particular knit-along is because many of us had Hannah Falkenberg kits in our closets, in our yarn rooms, or, you know, wherever we stash our yarn, under the bed, whatever you do. We have allergies in the family. I don't get to put anything under the bed. Okay, she had developed a routine and skill with the material that can't be taught in any other school, in any school. Her designs were sold in kits that included her patterns. Eventually, she needed a team to manage day-to-day operations, as there were a constant flow of new designs to create. About 100 retailers carried her kits. Her signature Shetland yarn was sourced from a Scottish mill and came in 78 vibrant colors. It maintains its shape, softens after washing. Since Online purchased Hannah's intellectual property in 2020, knitters can buy the patterns and yarns separately. So you can now purchase yarn in Hannah's beautiful, well thought out color combinations, or you can pick your own. Online has the same mill sources as before, but the palette has been updated, so some of the original colors are no longer available. Now there's also a 60-40, so a 60 linen and 40 cotton yarn, and 100% merino yarn available. As a matter of fact, one of our members ordered the merino yarn. I think it was sticky over there, right? And so it's merino, not Shetland.
It's been a lovely to work with.
Yeah, very soft. Her garment style is defined by clean lines. She's not into lace and ruffles. She prefers simplicity. Often they feature colorful stripes and almost always garter stitch. Her designs are intriguing, and it's a pleasure to note the interplay of the colors and the beautiful quality of the yarn. Each design was thoroughly tested. She knits a model, writes the pattern, then knits a test piece to make sure everything is spot on. As a matter of fact, I read someplace that she actually knits a test piece in a solid to see how the whole design works before she does anything with the colors.
Wow, that's a commitment.
Yeah.
One of the things I found really fascinating is that she had this board with these dowels, and there are 78 dowels, and each dowel had one of her colors. And when she was trying to figure out what color combination she wanted to use, she could go up to her board and take 3 or 4 or 5 colors off that board and and play with them and figure out which ones, whether they would work for what she had in mind. Anyone can knit my designs as long as they follow instructions. As Falkenberg emphasizes. That's the key point. If you can figure out the instructions, you're home free. Designs are sophisticated, clever, and unconventional. Trying to make changes while knitting her patterns can be disastrous, leading to frustration and frogging. Getting gauge and having a system for tracking. Row count increases or decreases, etc. is essential. If you want a Hannah Falkenberg sweater, you have to follow the pattern to the letter. And it's a long one. No shortcuts allowed. Hannah Falkenberg does not leave much room for spontaneous creativity. Her designs are tightly structured and carefully composed, so you're meant to stick to the pattern. The payoff, well, that's where we came in with a little help here and there. The payoff is that the finished piece looks impressively professional and sophisticated. Very sophisticated. It occurred to me after knitting a few of Hannah's patterns that garter stitch is square. In other words, the stitches are as tall as they are wide. This made it possible for Hannah to graph out her patterns in such an engineered fashion. Her garments are constructed in surprising ways that many of us find intriguing and can often leave us stymied as we try to understand what her instructions are trying to tell us to do. I often found myself reading and rereading the pattern and even sleeping on it in order to figure out what to do next. Her more difficult patterns have detailed schematics. It's a big help because you can actually see what she wants you to do on a large scale. During our long-term knit-along, with just a bit of guidance, many of us were able to use our knitting magic to succeed in finishing our garments. Her use of, at the same time, could lead to some sleeplessness. Once we understood all of the instructions in this section, it was not hard to carry on. Our intellect, creativity, and skill were all brought to bear in keeping track of where we were in the designs and figuring out how to manage new techniques. Hannah's patterns take serious commitment and perseverance. To create ballerina, as an example, takes a lot of knitting. It's practically a blanket. You can't but feel an immense amount of satisfaction after tackling and finishing one of her designs. You can be proud of your accomplishment as you wear your unique, stylish garment. I believe that those who spent the fall and winter knitting along have gained an underlying confidence in their knitting ability, and hopefully you will have developed some new friendships along the way. So that's basically my talk about Hannah. And I do think that all of us who finished one of these sweaters, or 5 or 6 of them, depending on who you are, really has come away with a little bit of a different concept of what you can accomplish with your knitting. The patterns are very different from the normal ones that you can download on Ravelry. They just are a little more challenging. But once you figured out what she wanted you to do, the knitting was not hard. It's just straight knitting because it's garter stitch. But yeah, it was a challenge. All right, so we have, let's see if I can find the rest of this. So we have a little fashion show. And what I'd like is the people who have Hannah Falkenberg sweaters on, maybe they could come in from the back and come to the front. Where would be best? Maybe just come over here. And then if you leave, go back so you're not coming over the cord. And I will try to say a little bit about each pattern, if I can keep my papers together. All right. Pardon me? She's still living. She's leading a private life. I have no idea why she sold her company. There's just no information about that.
Do you know how old she is?
I don't know. I would say she's probably in her 70s something.
I brought a picture of the shipped off one too.
Okay, so if we could start with Avenue. See if I can find that since I dropped this. Okay.
Instead of being the A.
Yes. This is the Avenue vest or cape. It's feminine and flattering, worked in garter stitch with graphic details. Back and fronts are worked separately and joined at the shoulder. And then there's a little join right here on the edge. And the buttons actually came off somebody's garment. She just decided she didn't need those two on the top, so she gave them to Carol. But I think it's a very flattering vest. Okay, if we could have one ballerina, well, the ballerinas, I guess. Okay. Yes, I could have our ballerinas. Yes. Okay, so ballerina is one of Hannah Kalkenberg's bestsellers. Here's another ballerina in progress. We wanted everybody here, even those that didn't quite manage to finish. Lynn did finish another one. It's called Butterfly. She brought a picture as proof. She did it. She had to send it to her daughter. Okay. Ballerina has classic swing lines with beautiful colored panels. It's great to wear, comfortable, no buttons, worked in short rows. Starts on one side, you do short rows and more short rows and more short rows until you get all the way to the other side, and then you have a whole ballerina sweater, all in one. The only seaming is under the arm. Yeah, so that's it. Looks great. Oh wait, she has a question. Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick change because I made two of them.
If there are no alterations, why is Laura's so much longer than?
Because my gauge is different.
I'm sorry.
My gauge is different.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Okay.
It
Well, I
has,
haven't blocked mine yet, so mine hasn't grown yet, which worries me.
Okay.
Yeah, because I put mine, I didn't get gauge on the needle, so I went up to a one larger size needle. Now I'm afraid that I should have just stuck with the smaller needle because the weight of this will probably drag some of it out or down.
it does grow in length because you can see in the
Right.
back, it does kind of grow a little bit. This particular one was perfect just the way it was. The other one, my gray one, I had to pull the sleeves a little bit to make sure they were the right length, even though I did lengthen the sleeve where she said we could do it. But really altering the patterns is very complicated, although Lynn, who's very good at all of this, has altered her ballerina pattern somewhat. Okay, let's see. Da capo. So we have Cindy over here. She's still working on it, so she's gonna pick up her yarn and bring it. I'd love you to bring it up front so that I can show a little bit. Let's see, I can put on da capo too. It's a very quick change here. It's Taylor Swift, you know, she does it in such a good fashion. I wonder, I don't have anything that I can go underneath, you know, to go change. So.
It's very awkward at this stage because I'm trying to join the sleeve to the front.
So da capo is a short jacket,
Yeah.
innovative and creative in design, diagonal stripes in interesting colors, worked back and forth in one piece, simple assembly along with seaming along the inside sleeve. A lot of her designs have seaming on the inside sleeve.
I have not stitched mine.
Yeah, it's not sewn up yet, but it starts in the center with a triangle. The triangle grows until it gets to the shoulder, to the neckline. Part of that triangle becomes your front.
Yeah.
And this is where I am.
She's
with my
doing this.
charcoal.
You do the sleeve. It attaches to the back triangle. Then you've got live stitches here. You have live stitches here. And then
Yeah.
you can fill it in, and that's what she's doing right now. She's filling in this panel, because you're live, and you can just fill those in, just fill them in, no problem.
The hardest thing I think about her designs is read, because she gives you what's coming up next, and I want to dive in and do it, but then she jumps down to row 1, you know, so go beyond what's coming up next and read the actual line by line.
So one of the things you have to be aware of if you're knitting a Hannah Falkenberg pattern that she has certain symbols she uses. So she puts a star at the beginning of a section, and then she puts 2 stars down lower, and maybe even 3 stars down lower, and that is all one section. So you do the first part, and the second part, and the third part between those stars, all at the same time. So charting is essential. I chart a certain way. Laura charts a totally different way. Everybody has their own method of charting, but you have to, basically you have to be able to chart these patterns because, I mean, just to keep track of where you are, what row you're on, how many times you've done the increase every 6 rows, etc., etc. All right, let's see, we have, hang on. Mermaid. I don't think anybody else has mermaid here today. Mermaid is actually one of my favorites, so that's why I had to put it on and bring it. It's a little more fitted jacket. It once again has these, the gussets, short row gussets. And, you know, it's just a little more fitted. I don't wear it quite as much as my ballerina because it's a little more fitted. But I do really like it very much.
I do too.
Thank you. All right, that's mermaid. Hang on. Pagodi. Pagodi? Yeah. Oh, Sandy's not here. That's somebody did do that. Okay, profile. Okay. Profile is a sweater with diagonal stripes and color effects. It comes in a turtleneck or V-neck. And again, you can see it starts, doesn't it start right here in the back?
It does, yeah.
With that triangle in the back that gives you a little color pop. You have the diagonal lines on the sleeve. And once again, it's sewn up underneath the sleeve. And I might mention, if you're gonna sew it up, it's much easier to not sew it in the yarn, in the Shetland yarn, because it breaks easily. So,
I experienced that.
yes, because you're doing mattress stitch to sew up, this one's sewn, that one's sewn, a lot of them are, and you have to put some tension on that, it can tend to break. So I actually use sock yarn in a similar color, doesn't show, so you can just use a different yarn to sew up the things.
Monica,
So
if
that's something to keep in mind.
Long sock yarn.
Yes.
That comes in with a reinforcement spool.
Right,
That is the most fabulous yarn ever to sew the seams.
right.
Because it hides away, super strong, handles a lot.
You're talking about the little spools that
Those
come with
spool
the
that
sock
comes
yarn?
with Lang sock yarn.
Right, and there are others that,
She needs it, I have about 100.
yeah, they used to sell them at Fiberworks too, little cards that had reinforcing yarn. So that's a good one, it's nice and thin. Okay,
So one thing, I didn't use one of her kits. I put together my colors and, and they sent me the colorways, which meant that I didn't have quite enough. So I was knitting along in this area with a contrast color, which was the camel, and it became clear to me that I was gonna run out. And so I spent a morning at Monica's looking at alternatives. And so what I decided to do was to do a triple stripe really with the light color in there, so.
so it
that
now
was-
is a design element,
Right.
and nobody will know that she was running out
That's
of
right.
yarn. But actually, that's one of the things that I wanted to emphasize is because it was a knit along and we were doing it together, she could say, hey, I'm running out of yarn, can anybody help me? And sure enough, we could. We had extra yarn. I do have other extra yarn. If you're running out, other people we can contact. So it helps to have the knitting circle. Okay. Let's see, our promenade. I believe that Lynn has a promenade. I tried putting these in alphabetical order so that it wouldn't be too hard. Promenade is a unique shawl. It can be worked as a scarf. The stripe pattern is very effective in 4 or 5 colors. It really has a very unique design, so if you turn around, see, you've got this kind of triangle in the back, and then the straight pieces that create the rest of the shawl. So it's actually quite lovely, the way the stripes, and like I said, it's very effective in 5 colors.
End by 3 needle binding off in the center of the mitered section.
Cool.
So you started with the outside of it open, and then you're coming in and connecting that center band.
I'm gonna have to make one of those.
So it's a very interesting construction.
Okay, thank you. I really like that one.
Yeah.
It's particularly nice. I've also seen it in reds,
Yeah.
and that's quite lovely. I'm sorry Kim isn't here because she has one in the reds. Skyline. We have a couple of skylines. It's a jacket all in garter stitch with diagonal striping. Eye-catching graphic color play.
Yeah.
Apparently runs a little large. Lori had a little trouble with hers, feeling like it was too big. But you can see again, this is made very much like the Da Capo. It starts in the back with the little triangle, the triangle works all the way up to the top of the neck, and then the triangle then becomes part of the front. You do the sleeves, attach them, and you have the live stitches. And in this case, instead of, as in Da Capo, you make that bigger square, so it kind of flaps. This one actually fills in here, but it fills in straight, so it's a straight cardigan. So, and you can see that color choices, you know, the sky's the limit, you get to decide.
I went down an entire needle size on mine because we all know I'm vertically challenged, so I went down an entire needle size and I adjusted my tension and I knit extremely tight.
I don't recommend it. The knitting tight because you can hurt your hands.
Yeah. And you cuss a lot, so.
Yeah, especially with that much knitting. Okay, let's see. Deb Zur is not here. She was here last time. She did strips. It's a little sweater that had stripes in the front. And she says it's like her sweatshirt. It's so comfortable. Tweety. 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 They're chatting back there. My models are not paying attention. Over there. All right. So Tweety is very Coco Chanel. A waist-long jacket made with 5 colors. It can fade. It has a nice effect. It's dressy and versatile. Sleeves are made separately and sewn in. No buttons, which is nice. I really like having no buttons. It's done with, you knit,
All three. You knit all 3
A row
colors.
with all 3 colors.
one row with one color, one row with the next color, and one row with the other color.
Back to all
and
3 colors.
And then,
Yeah. See, I only have 3 colors in mine.
So it's also very effective that way. It does not
Mine
have to
will
have,
not fade.
it doesn't have to have 5 colors. It'll just be, have a little more solid effect.
Yeah.
But you can see here, her colors are red and fuchsia and
Orange.
orange.
Yeah.
And it comes out to have this, what is it, like a watermelon color almost. I think that's very effective. And this one has 5 colors. It's a deep purple down below, and then fading up with grays and shades of purple or pink.
I was the first one that wanted to give up. I picked a sweater that was all solid dark purple. And I tried and I tried.
And she cried.
And I cried. I'm done, I can't do this. And Monica says, give it to me. She took all my purple yarn and gave me back.
We found some other yarn she could use so that she didn't have to struggle with the problem is if you use only a dark color, it's a nightmare because you can't see, and with garter stitch, it's all compact anyway. So I don't recommend knitting something in all deep purple or black.
And it's very soft.
Black.
And it's very soft.
It's softies, yes. This one has a detailing, if you turn around, it has a slip stitch detailing that you can see all around the sleeve.
She calls them chain stitches.
Chain stitches, and basically it's just it's a lifted stitch, isn't
You
it?
s- you,
Yeah,
carry
it's a
the
slip
stitch up.
stitch, so you're slipping to make that design element. There you go.
And I wanted to say one thing. When I first looked at the patterns, I saw on Onling's website, Tweety in this color combination. And then it disappeared off the website. So I tried to order the yarn, and they still had them listed, but they were out of the orange and the red. So I ended up going to Fiber Infusion, and I used
Ramagarn.
Ramagarn,
So you can use Ramagarn,
which I had to go down a needle size to get it because it was a little bit bigger yarn. So.
And she has a really nice selection of that in,
Yeah.
in Vandalia, if anybody's
she
looking.
has a whole trunk load
Yeah,
of
and a wall.
Ramagarn in
Yep.
all kinds of colors.
And it feels nice.
Yeah, it's a nice one, and it softens beautifully, just like the Shetland does. Just, you have to do, it's interesting, you need a gauge swatch, so you'll get a jacket that fits. Studio. Last but not least.
That's cute.
It's an ingenious construction. Diagonally worked sweater creates a zigzag effect. It's very eye-catching, as you can see. Worked in 2 parts, joining along the diagonal seam.
A gazillion parts, don't.
A gazillion parts.
Is that metric?
I'll have to look at that one. I don't have this pattern. It's written for turtleneck or low neck. Again.
Yeah.
So,
And this is an embellishment that I added. There was a seam there, and I didn't like how the seam looked right in front, so I just crocheted,
Very cute.
there too. And it actually looks okay.
yeah.
It actually looks like a blouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it's a gazillion parts.
And on the English translation, the schematic actually had a letter missing. So, and you were supposed to now you're gonna knit from here to here or whatever, and you couldn't see what it was. So I would have to download the Danish translation, get my paragraph or schematic, put it into Google Translate, had to do that 3 times to knit this, because the English translation was not so good. But
Do you
the
love
Danish
it?
translation was fine.
Do you love it?
I do. I'm happy that I did. It took a long time. No, it was a lot. US 2.5.
Yeah.
It was a
Well, yeah,
lot.
because, you're working on a 2.5 or 3 millimeter needle, so
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
take time.
It was a lot.
All right,
Yeah, but I'm glad I've done it.
okay, well, thank you very much. That's for our fashion show. Okay, so we have some certificates. Oh, shoot, I should have had those. Maybe.
Yeah, I love that.
I have a certificate for everybody who participated in the project. I sent a little message to Onling and asked them if it was possible for us to have some sort of a door prize of some sort. And she sent a gift card from Onling that you can get 1 free Hannah Falkenberg pattern with a code and 10% off Onling yarn. So everybody, I put one of the certificates in here for each person who participated. Maybe, can one of you, somebody hand these out to the people? They, yeah, okay. Well, or I can do it in a little, that's okay. But I also have one other
Well, I
very
think you you should read them, even so we can hear the people who did it who aren't here.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay, that's good. I can do that.
Because I think it was a huge participation and
Yes,
It was. So I have Sue Adamthroat. She has a dear darling little puppy, new puppy, and it's very difficult for her to get out of the door because it's apparently a very vivacious little puppy. Karen Cassidy. Yeah, she's dragging her yarn. Terry Eagleton. Cindy Evans, she's behind you. I have a Barbara Eden. Mary Jarity. Now, some of these people had good intentions, but you know how that is. Laura Hinders, Regina Hobbs, Vicky Jacoby. She's over here. Wait a minute, you didn't come up with your ballerina.
yeah, she did.
Oh,
Yes,
was she
did.
there? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you.
Not quite done.
Very, very nice. There you go. And this is the one done in Marino. Good.
Watch the corner.
Yeah, I'll watch it. Karen? Spelled it. I'm sorry. That's okay. I know how to spell it. Carol, nicely. Kim Kulasa.
She's knit several.
Kim has made several, and she's working on Tweety. Yeah. Sandy Kulik, Elizabeth Martin, Lynn McCowan, she's back there. Elizabeth McDonough, Mary Owens. Oh. Oh. Patricia Pace. Lori Reamer, Pat Spratlin. Oh, Pat, you didn't come out to the avenue, did you?
This is the avenue.
She's working on it.
Oh,
That's her back, and she's got one front done, coming along. I did talk to Pat a little bit about what she does while she's watching TV. But she did say knitting, and so ever since we had that little discussion, she's making amazing progress. You don't know what a little TV time will do.
sucked into the iPad void.
No,
There you go.
none of that. We don't do that. Nancy, Renee Stratton, Mary Beth Shearbeck, Beek, Jackie Snodgrass, Deb Sorowski. All right. I also have some extra.
I thought she was conjuring for a minute. It has to be something so exciting, but first she's gonna give everything.
Of the coupons for people who are here today, for a free Hannah Falkenberg pattern, and, or 10% off on the online yarn. If you're interested in one of these, you're welcome to take one. Should be good. Let's see. And then, just to top this all off, when I got the message back from Onling, they sent me a message saying that they had a $150 gift card that we have available. And so the people who participated are in this drawing for a $150 gift card from Onling. And I have to, just in full disclosure, my name is in here, and so is Lori and whoever else helped work on this, mainly because we all worked hard on this.
Absolutely.
So there are code numbers on there that you would use to redeem your coupon. So somebody who did not participate can pick.
Drum roll, yay.
Right. Elizabeth McDonough. Certificate of award. All right. I thought this was actually exceedingly generous of
Yes,
you
it
Yes.
to send us a
I
gift
can't believe I
certificate.
won.
Well, there you go. I think she won the last,
I won the last door prize
Door
for the
prize,
needle.
Yeah,
I don't know, you better sit next to her a lot or something.
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, yes?
Yeah.
Oh,
Good idea.
no, I think we should probably get a photo of everybody with their Hannah Falkenbergs. Let me see, what else do we have to do?
Even the unfinished ones, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody that did
who
it.
participated. We can go ahead and if you wanna go ahead just somewhere in the back of the room.
I just wanna say something. This, Monica was awesome.
Yes.
She helped all of us. She kept track of all the patterns. If you had a problem, day or night, any old time, you could call her and she would help. I mean, she did a very
Thank you
remarkable
very
job.
much.
Yes, thank you.
I have to say, I actually truly enjoyed the process. I thought it was really cool that with just a little bit of assistance, everybody could come up with an amazing sweater. So, thank you